Hello YouTubers, you RV people out there. This is Terry and Marcia. We've done a few RV videos and I have free boondocking land I wanted to share with anybody who needs a place to go if they've been kicked out. I'm about 100 miles north of Mobile, Alabama. I have an off-grid site here and a shed I built to store my RV under, my motorhome. And there's no electricity here, but there's good spring water that comes down. I have a pipe that goes, you might can see up there where I fill that 55-gallon tank. But there's a lot of water from the spring, and this solar system is 400 watt. It keeps batteries charged, and I have about 200 acres here, plenty room to roam around. But about I guess around 20 acres or more are in fields, and it's plenty of room, and I don't mind trying to help people out under this situation. I don't really have any restrictions. I would welcome RVers with travelers with pets and children, and anything else I could do to help. I could probably host 20-30 RVs here. I have another field that's closer to the house. My house, this is about a quarter of a mile from my house. I have another field there that's got some space on it. But anyway, if you need room, and you're in the south or not too far from Mobile, Alabama, I'm about 100 miles north, like I said, and there's plenty of place to park, and you're welcome. So give me a shout out and contact me if you need to come here. This virus is really serious. Of course, it's a pandemic, and I'm aware of this kind of stuff because I worked a couple years in a hospital lab, and this one is spreading like fleas hopping all over the place. And the only hope right now to seem to help people get over this is a couple of drugs. My doctor won't give them to me. She says I have to be diagnosed first, but ironically there's no diagnostics here. Plus my pharmacy's mail order probably died before I got it, even if she wrote a prescription and I got infected. Also, you can see over there they've been cutting trees. We've been clearing out some land, so there's even more area over there that's possibly accessible. But I guess that's all I can say. Be safe out there. Try not to touch what other people are touching. I had a round with a store in town. I asked them why couldn't they just keep the door open so everyone didn't have to touch the handle, and they said they just said use a napkin or something. So I called the store headquarters and mentioned it to them. They said the same thing. They wouldn't recommend leaving the door open where people could just walk in and out without having to touch the handle. I called the local health department, said that'd be a good idea, and the guy was kind of pissed, and he told me to well, first when I contacted him, a receptionist answered the phone. She said just use a napkin. So she passed me on to the head honcho there, and he said he had to force people to close the door if they were cooking inside. And I talked to him about, well, a national emergency, it looks like common sense should prevail, but he said that he couldn't tell people to leave the door open. Well, ironically, he just told me that he couldn't tell people, suggest to people to leave it open. And I called he said he couldn't do anything that wasn't authorized by the state health department. So I called the state health department and suggested that they recommend, not order, just recommend that stores that were open for food and supplies, gas stations and such, just leave their door open unless it was extreme weather. That would reduce something that everyone is touching. And they said use a napkin. The other guy had told me, well, you go around to your stores and suggest it to them. I'm like, yeah. Well, when the they suggested I use a napkin. I told them at the state level, I told them I would, but I couldn't make everybody do it. And they said they were having a meeting that'd bring it up. So basically they just poo-pooed the whole idea. But I know one thing, we did cultures in the lab all over the hospital frequently, at least once a month when I worked there, and it's stuff growing everywhere all the time. Nothing's really safe, so keep your hands to yourself, and like the song goes, don't stand so close to me. Okay, and also if you're bored and have nothing to do, I've posted several videos. One of them, the last one I posted was 101 tips and modifications I made to this motorhome, and that might entertain you for a little bit. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.